Hello! Happy May 30th, 2011. It is my birthday and I want to thank everyone for their well wishes and birthday greetings on Facebook. But in addition to it being my birthday, it is also Memorial Day, which is probably the most important, because if it wasn't for the sacrifice of our troops, I wouldn't be making this video right now. So God bless our troops and thank you so much for your sacrifice. Hello and welcome back to Who Thoughts, my video blog dedicated to the most awesome universe of Doctor Who. And what I thought I would do tonight is discuss the very first episode ever of Doctor Who, An Unearthly Child. What some of you may or may not know is there are actually 2 pilot episodes produced. The second episode, or pilot episode, is the one that actually aired in 1963 and people saw. When comparing the 2 episodes, there were a lot of similarities, but there were a lot of differences in the way the characters were first introduced, and I thought that was interesting. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show 3 scenes that appeared in both pilot episodes. The first one is going to be from the pilot that didn't air, and the second one will be from what people saw for the first time. So the clip that I have here is going to be the first time you see Susan, the doctor's granddaughter.
Good night.
Good night, Susan.
Be careful, Susan. There'll probably be fog again tonight. See you in the morning.
I expect so. Good night.
Good night.
Good night, Susan.
That's not right.
Okay, wow. When I got finished seeing that first pilot episode, the one that didn't air, I couldn't help but think that Carol Ann Ford, the actress who played Susan, was like channeling a Carrie slash Morticia Adams, character. It was like really strange. If that was done now, it would probably be no big deal because we'd all be like, oh cool, I wonder what she's drawing. But back then it was like so like way out there that it's probably a good thing that the changes were made to the character that Susan became. Okay, now the second episode, which I'm sure you're all waiting for, is the very first time we see the doctor. This is really cool, so I hope you enjoy this.
There you are.
Excuse me.
What are you doing here?
We're looking for a young girl.
We?
Good evening.
What do you want?
One of our pupils, Susan Foreman, came into this yard.
Really? In here? Are you sure?
Yes, we saw her from across the street.
In this light?
Quite clearly.
You were spying on her. Who are you?
We heard a young girl's voice call out to you.
Impossible.
It came from in there.
You must have imagined it.
I certainly did not imagine it.
Young man, is it reasonable to suppose that anybody would be inside a cupboard like that?
Is it therefore unreasonable to ask you to let us have a look inside?
You have no right to be here. You're hiding and trespassing. I suggest you see this young child tomorrow instead of bothering me.
But won't you help us? We're two of her teachers from the Coal Hill School. We saw her come in and we haven't seen her leave. Naturally, we're worried.
It is no business of mine. I suggest you leave here.
Not until we are satisfied that Susan isn't in there. And I don't understand your attitude.
Yours leaves a lot to be desired.
Will you open that door?
I will not.
Why not? What are you afraid we'll find there?
Go away.
Open the door!
I certainly will not. Pushing your way in here.
And I think we'd better find a policeman.
Yeah, well?
And you're coming with us.
Oh. Am I? I think not.
There you are, Grandfather. Susan, shh.
Excuse me.
What are you doing here?
We're looking for a girl.
We?
Well, good evening.
What do you want?
One of our pupils, Susan Foreman, came into this yard.
Really? In here? Are you sure?
Yes, we saw her from across the street.
One of their pupils, not the police then.
I beg your pardon?
Why were you spying on her? Who are you?
We heard a young girl's voice call out to you.
Your hearing must be very acute. I didn't hear anything.
It came from in here.
You imagined it.
I certainly did not imagine it.
Young man, is it reasonable to suppose that anybody would be inside a cupboard like that?
Would it therefore be unreasonable to ask you to let us have a look inside?
I wonder why I've never seen that before. Now, isn't that strange? Pretty damp and dirty.
Won't you help us? We're two of her teachers from the Coal Hill School. We saw her come in and we haven't seen her leave. Naturally, we're worried.
Have to be clean. Oh, I'm afraid it's none of my business. I suggest you leave here.
Not until we're satisfied that Susan isn't here. And frankly, I don't understand your attitude.
Oh, yours leaves a lot to be desired.
Will you open the door?
There's nothing in there.
Then what are you afraid to show us?
Afraid? Oh, go away.
I think we'd better go and fetch a policeman.
Very well.
And you're coming with us.
Oh, am I? I don't think so, young man. No, I don't think so.
Okay, wasn't that cool or what? I mean, both portrayals of the Doctor by William Hartnell were fantastic. I mean, he was such a great actor. And, there really aren't that many actors like him around anymore. Those old-time character actors. But what a difference between the two portrayals. I can't help but think what would have happened if they decided, the producers and everything decided to stick with the first portrayal where he was all like rude and everything. Would the Doctor have lasted as long as he did, instead of being what he is now, where he's like a lot of different elements. Okay, the last clip I am going to show you is, you know, almost as great as seeing the Doctor for the first time, and that's seeing the inside of the TARDIS when Ian and Barbara, you know, first go in there for the first time, and it's like, this is kind of cool too, so enjoy.
These people are known to you, I believe?
What are you doing here? They're two of my school teachers.
Is that your excuse for this unwarrantable intrusion? You had no right to invite them here. I blame you for this, Susan. You would insist on going to that ridiculous school, I warned you.
Grandfather, is this really where you live, Susan? Yes.
And what is wrong with it?
It was just a box.
Perhaps.
But it can't be.
It was, you saw it.
You see, I knew this sort of thing would happen, you stupid child. Close the door, Susan. I believe these people are known to you.
They're two of my school teachers. What are you doing here? Where are we?
They must have followed you. That ridiculous school. I knew something like this would happen if we stayed in one place too long.
But why should they follow me? Is this really where you live, Susan? Yes.
And what's wrong with it?
But it was just a telephone box.
Perhaps.
And this is your grandfather? Yes. Well, why didn't you tell us that?
I don't discuss my private life with strangers.
But it was a police telephone box. I walked all round it. Barbara, you saw me.
You don't deserve any explanations. You pushed your way in here, uninvited and unwelcome.
I think we ought to leave now.
Now, just a minute. I know this is absurd,
Dear. This is very...
I feel... I walked all round it.
It stopped again, you know, and I've tried... Oh, you wouldn't understand, of course.
But I want to understand.
Yes.
No, don't worry, you're not crazy or anything. I just jumped forward in time, and it's still a little light outside, and I'm not wearing my pajamas right now, so no need to worry. But seriously, the scenes inside the TARDIS are my favorite scenes from An Unearthly Child. I think the reason is because you really see two different Doctors. The portrayals are so different here. The first scene, the Doctor is such an ass to Susan. There's no other way to put it. But in the second scene, the one that aired, the Doctor is someone who we can all like. He's a likable, like, old guy who happens to be an alien. That's really something to think about, because if the decisions were not made back then to portray the Doctor the way he was, would there have been a second Doctor or even an 11th Anyway,
Uh-huh.
Doctor? Those are just my thoughts, and I hope it gives you something to think about. Thank you for watching, and hope to see you soon. Bye!